it's heavy, heavy friendly. There is an eagle flying.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's another edition of Heavy Friending, the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
I'm Joe.
I'm Laura.
We are here, and we're happy, and we're so glad you downloaded this or you streamed it. It's all the same to us. We're just glad you're here.
Well, saying we are here, it's a big deal, okay? Because it takes a lot these days to be here, to be anywhere.
Present.
Yes. We've all checked out, you know?
It's true.
So to be here, it took a lot. It took a lot for us to do that. It takes a lot to get up out of bed. It takes a lot to take a shower or brush your teeth. You know, it's a struggle. So yeah, we are here and you are welcome. And you're here. And thank you.
And thank you also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
I think what's most exciting to me is knowing that this podcast will be saved eventually in the Smithsonian because it will be documenting this weird, some call it this weird time, this crazy cuckoo.
Yeah, that's what people are calling it.
Time, this unprecedented. They're saying it's troubling.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't know when it's going to end,
So this podcast is really a historical record and people will listen to it. I guess we should say hi to our future listeners
for sure.
In the year 3000.
If the earth is still here by then and inhabitable,
well, of course.
Then yes.
Of course it'll be here.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's up for debate, isn't
hello
it?
to them. We how we think about people like from the 1700s, and we're like, oh my gosh, those people talk funny and they wore weird little tights.
And they probably smelled so bad. That's what I think every time. I'm like, oh God, their breath. Oh God, their body odor.
Yeah, and they probably had all these like pains and stuff that they couldn't really do anything about.
Ailments.
That's how that's right, ailments, and they had ointments for the ailments.
Yeah.
But they're gonna think we talk so quaintly.
Yeah, they're going to say the vocabulary on them. Yeah. Very, very bad. Well, this is Heavy Friending. It's Austin's #1 friendship-based podcast. And, another reason that the Smithsonian may want this podcast may not have anything to do with COVID, but it may have to do with the fact that what we've done on this podcast has kind of never been done before. We've documented friendship from its infancy into its kind of geriatric stage.
Yes, it should have been, allowed to peacefully die.
Yeah, we're just hanging on,
should be able to pull the plug at this point.
People come up and they say, oh, they don't have long, and we're like, yeah, wait and see, bitch.
Isn't there a humane way to let this thing end? But
they reach for the pillow and we, we struggle and we fight against it and we come back each week with a new episode.
But we certainly pause and we give it good thought at whether we should continue to go on.
That's true. And then there's sometimes when we don't put an episode out and people are like, did they go? It's like when what it's like, the doctors are going, they're rubbing the paddles together and they're saying clear. Paddles, yeah. And all you hear is beep. And, we don't put an episode out and that's what they're hearing is the beep. And they don't know, just one more shock. And then we're going to get that dun 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 dun. We're back. It's very hard to get rid of us.
That's true. So, and I didn't want to record today.
Yeah. I don't like it when I ask you if we're going to record and then your reply is, okay.
Well,
that's not how I like to start the episode.
It's on the more positive spectrum because it's not like, is neutral.
No, it's
actually,
not.
Is probably negative.
Is laced with negativity.
Yeah, but then okay is like,
is neutral.
Fine, I'll do it. I don't want to. So you see how that's fine?
So it's not a great vibe really to start with, but I am a positive person, so I am able to overlook it. And also I'm just used to your negativity at this point. So it's like water off a duck's back.
Well, I'm Mr. Positivity, and the listeners are loyal listeners. Some days you're not. No.
Some days you're not. Today you weren't, and you can't always be. And so I'll pick up the slack today, okay? And I'll be positive today.
So then permission for me to be negative.
Yes, permission granted. Sergeant.
Oh, thank you, Sergeant.
No,
but I'm not
Captain.
Okay, Colonel.
What's above? I don't even know the ranks. So
I think general's
general.
Good.
Okay, I'll do general then, and you can be private.
I am very private. Yeah. But I'm actually not in a bad mood. I just didn't think we were going to do it, and I went out in public today. So,
but I told you today was the only day. I told you today was the only day we could do it.
I guess I forgot and didn't care that you said that.
Okay, cool. Before we have a plan today, you guys, of something we are going to do. Okay. Whoa. And we're doing this because of y'all. But before we do that, I want to tell y'all that today I got tested for COVID.
19?
And yes.
Okay.
Not yeah. Cause some people get it confused, with 91,
so it was
but it's
COVID-19.
It was COVID-19.
Uh-huh.
I got the nose swabs. First of all, it was awesome. I made an appointment ahead of time, which is essentially they take walk-ins at this place. It was a rapid test. Essentially, the appointment is just like your place in line for like the walk-in, essentially. So you make the appointment and they give you a time, and that's like when you can come so that you don't have to wait for hours. So I get there, I text and say I'm here. They let me know when it's time for me to go inside. I go in, they take me to the back. They took my temperature. And then the lady took a freaking Q-tip and went up not one, but both of my freaking nostrils. And she went up there, and she didn't just go up. She went up and she swirled it around very aggressively. Tears poured out of both of my eyes. And the inside of my nose was bothering me pretty much the whole day. But I waited for about 15 minutes and they had my results for me. It was that easy. I am negative.
That easy.
I do not have COVID.
Yeah. It's just that easy, folks. Please go get tested.
Well, I mean, it would be awesome if we were able, like if it was feasible for us to go like every other week or something and get tested, and just so you could stay on top of it. I'm going to see my mom and sister this weekend. I went to that drive-in concert, and then they actually asked us to go up on the stage and sing. And, they said the microphone was sanitized, but like there was a part of me that was like, was it, and I had been like around people. So I just wanted to be on the safe side, got tested, and now I can have an enjoyable weekend with my family. Obviously we'll still wear masks and everything, but it's nice to like have a little bit of a peace of mind with, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's
be
good.
Safe.
I wish everyone I was around I would know that they were tested and negative.
Mm-hmm. They probably wish that you were tested and negative too.
I just feel like the chances
you went somewhere today.
Yeah, but even where I went, the chances I think are low for me.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, like when I went to the drive-in show, I was outside the whole time. I wasn't like up close really next to anybody. I was in my little cubicle area with the cars separating everybody. But still, it can pass. It can pass to people. So you just have to be safe. You should always act as though you have it. And I'm, people know me as a safe person, and they would say like, I'm always safety first. And so I'm just, I'm just here to advocate that everybody is safe. And that includes you, Joe.
I think you've told me in the past I'm too cautious. So
that doesn't mean that you can't get it. And I think the difference is that I think like putting your food in the corner for like 2 weeks is overkill, but like going outside of your house and being around other people, that's just like, that's the risk. That's the risk part.
Yeah. But you do it much more than I do.
No, I don't. Like I literally went to that. That's the first event or anything I've been to was that drive-in show. The whole week I have not left my house. I don't go anywhere. That makes sense
because I've been to zero events. So
I don't go to the grocery store. I do not go to the pharmacy. I do not go anywhere. The only place I go is to mail my merch, and I do that every other week.
I mean, if you want to have a contest of who's more of a homebody, it's definitely me.
That's just because you don't have anything to do.
It doesn't matter why. The point is, I win. So don't go toe to toe with me.
Okay. Let me tell you guys about what we're going to do today. So we let you guys know last week that we have a hotline now where you can call in, and he's coughing now. People. So like I said,
I need to get tested.
Well, I'm just saying. So wait, go ahead and tell them that number, Joe.
213-394-9214. And if you're not like having your pencil nearby, it's in our Instagram bio. It's really easy. You go to our Instagram, you tap contact, and then our number will pop up.
It's also in the podcast description.
Okay.
So just right underneath the podcast.
Places. Guys, it's so easy. Please give us a call.
Yeah. So the reason we're doing this is that we messaged out yesterday, hey, here's our number. Give us a call. And everybody's liking it. And everybody's putting, this is such a good idea. And lol this. Everybody. And hee hee ha ha smiley face that. And then what I asked today, did anybody call? No. Not one of y'all motherfuckers called us. Okay. So we're here to show y'all what you're going to get if you do call us and what you guys missed out on this last week by not calling us. Okay.
Yeah. Because what you're going to get is free quality feedback. Whatever you say, this episode, we're going to focus on answering some of life's toughest questions. You could leave a question. You could leave a comment. It doesn't matter. The point is when you call the Heavy Friending hotline, at 213-394-9214. You'll leave a message. You're not going to talk to me. You're not going to talk to Laura. Don't worry about that. I know people are afraid to talk on the phone. Don't worry. You just leave a message and we'll listen to the message and maybe we'll play it on the podcast and we'll make fun of you. It's not scary.
No, it's not a big deal. Yeah. We'll put your full name, just like how we do with Nick Foster.
Yeah, we'll find your information and we'll say your phone number on the show so anyone can call you and bother you. But other than that, it's like, why wouldn't you guys call this strange number that was on the internet?
Yeah. Everyone likes to hear themselves talked about. Like everyone loves that, whether it's positive or negative. Everyone wants to know, don't you? So this is like, you could be a fly on the wall of a conversation about you. Okay. Yes. So do this. So call that phone number, call us. We want to talk to y'all. This is all we have. And not just Joe and I, but this is all we have as a people right now is these little ways to communicate. Okay. So reach across the aisle.
Yes.
That's a political thing or something.
Reach across.
Reach around. Give us a reach around the aisle. Yeah.
And do it for the people, because the people in the year 3000, when they're going through the Smithsonian archives, they're going to want to know what the questions were on people's minds. And they're going to want to listen to this podcast and understand what friendship was like in the year 2000.
What do you think they'll say about us? Those people, about how brave we are and stuff.
Well, it depends how we turn out, after we've not been doing great so far.
Right.
So they might think we're real stupid. Now, this podcast would prove otherwise. But
we've said so many smart things on this.
Well,
podcast.
We only say smart things.
Actually, we're getting some new listeners recently who are then messaging me that have started at the beginning, right? And they're messaging me things that I've said, and I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of it. I'm like, what did I say? It's just wild stuff.
I don't remember what we said at the beginning of this episode.
That's true. Me either. We often forget. We often get off track, but we're going to get right back on track here. So we're going to start with our first question.
Great.
And what I did was, these are all from Quora. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's a place where people go to ask,
questions.
Sometimes, philosophical questions, sometimes practical questions, and sometimes really dumb questions. This first question, I'm going to start really hot right out of the gate.
Okay.
Why do and listen, guys, you can trust all of our answers because everything that we talk about is based on personal experience, life experience, and also just an expert opinion. So just feel comfortable knowing that we can really help with these things. So first question, why do demons need blood to be summoned?
Wow.
Okay. And so we'll sit with that. So that's another thing that intelligent people do is they don't just talk. They listen, they take it in, and they analyze it a little bit before they just start spouting off, why. Okay.
Well, because this question is built upon the premise that you need blood to summon demons.
And that was their first mistake, right?
Well, because we'll we've seen demons come unsummoned. there was no blood involved, and yet demons showed up. So again,
exactly.
Yeah, it's sort of a dumb question, obviously.
Well, it's obviously dumb. I mean, it is also, I don't want to get into with y'all debate over demons, whether they're real. They are. We know that for a fact. So we'll just skip that part. But yeah, why do demons need blood to be summoned? They don't.
So yeah, they don't need blood. Here's the thing though.
No.
They're demons. They like blood. Blood is certainly going to encourage a demon to come out and say, hey, but other things can encourage demons to come out. It's not just blood, but blood is certainly like, the demon's favorite food.
Right. It's like a duck. You can go to the lake and you can bring some bread crumbs and you can toss them out and ducks are going to come. But another way is you have a duck call and you go, and then that brings it. There's a lot of different ways. So y'all have heard of a Ouija board?
Yes.
There's one way right out of the gate. I mean,
that was one way.
That's like one of the main ways to summon a demon. You get a Ouija board, you ask it a question, and then next thing you know, you're talking in another language, right?
Right.
So that's like right out of the gate, first way.
That's a way. A favorite way of mine, definitely around the holidays, is you go into the bathroom and maybe you use the bathroom first because you ate a lot of pie and stuff. Figgy pudding. And then you're like, oh, well, while I'm in here, I'll turn out the lights and then I'll whisper, the name of a deceased demon. And then you just do it 3 times. The key is you say the name 3 times. You don't need blood. You don't need blood.
Another way is touch a cursed object. Okay.
True.
Solve some sort of a archaic looking puzzle that it opens a portal somewhere. There's just a lot of different ways. And so I think the main takeaway from this question is, don't think so small.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself so much.
Don't. And if you have blood, great. But you don't need blood.
Right. I mean, there's incantations, there's chanting. And also, the question shouldn't be why, it should be how. And that's a lot of times, quit asking why and ask how.
Okay.
Because that's an active question. How do I do this thing? Not why. Why is like, for the birds, we don't need Aristotle. We don't need, Confucius. Okay. We've had enough of that.
Well,
we're doing.
I studied the teachings of Aristotle because I majored in rhetoric.
Yes.
And of course, rhetoric, Aristotle described as the ability in any case to understand the available means of persuasion. So certainly I am a student of Aristotle, and I appreciate his teachings and his wisdom.
Well, it's a foundation, but you use that to then... Right. So there's so many questions here that we're going to get to. This one is,
and that we answered it great. So good job.
That was very good. This one is an interesting one, and I'm going to ask you to answer this one. Actually, Joe,
I'd love to.
Why would a girl frown after smiling to me and I didn't smile back? Why did she take it so personally? Does she not realize I have more important things on my mind and am more busy with other things?
This is a great question, and one that who better to answer than me, obviously.
Exactly.
And obviously this question was written in a pre-pandemic, maskless society, because now the beauty is no one knows if you're smiling or frowning.
Well, you have to smile with your eyes.
And,
you have to smize.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you don't smile a lot. So.
Well, but I do the thing in public because I was doing it even today when I went out in public. Like you smile and just kind of like maybe like not even a full nod, but you just kind of like raise your head. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Like you just kind of smile and go, But then I realized no one knows I'm doing the the smile part.
Well, I think winks are going to start being a little bit more popular, less creepy, and more, just a normal way of interacting with people.
I think winks. I think finger guns are very cool. You do the
they're always cool. Yeah.
They were cool, but now I think they're functional cool, which makes them very cool.
Well, that's always the best kind of cool is functional cool. That's what everyone
cool.
says.
Because obviously like a wave works, but finger guns are still much cooler.
Well, yeah, especially if you hold it up to your mouth and you have the mask on. So they can't see you blowing, but they know you're doing the...
Oh, and that's funnier because like I want to kill myself because of this mask.
Right. No, I didn't mean it in a kill yourself way. I meant like you shot it and then you blew it.
Oh, I thought you were doing the one where you put your fake finger in your mouth and you're like,
yeah, no, we can't do that in this day and age. We can't.
I was just supporting you. Anymore. I don't think that's a good idea either, but I was just trying to be
I really appreciate
positive.
That. So let's get back to this guy.
So anyway, she's looking at you. She smiles. You don't smile. Mm-hmm. And then she frowns. That's the scenario. Right. Well, I mean, maybe she's practicing because this is a true story. When I was in, and I might have said this before, but when I was in high school, I was practicing winking because I didn't think I knew how to wink. So in pre-calculus with Mr. Schwartz, I was just sort of sitting at my desk, not listening to his pre-calculus nonsense, which, by the way, I've not used in my life.
Don't need it.
And nobody needs it. We have computers. So anyway, I'm sitting absentmindedly winking and just practicing the motion of winking. And then Mr. Schwartz stops the class and says, "Joe, are you winking at me?" And I was upset, but I understood where he was coming from. But I was just practicing, and I don't remember what I said after that. I just remember he stopped, and everyone looked at me, and it was like embarrassing. Mm-hmm. I think I probably just said no.
It's an interesting thing that he did for a couple reasons.
Okay, yeah.
One is he interrupted his class. He's teaching students, there were some kids in there that maybe wanted to go into engineering school or whatever after that.
Right.
And he's teaching his class and he stops his class, interrupts his class, first of all, which is something a child does. That's the kind of thing that, you get in trouble for doing. So now the teacher is interrupting the class to ask a meaningless question. And number two, what was he implying when he asked that question? You know what I mean? Joe, were you winking at me? What did he mean by that? What was he saying?
I don't know what the purpose of bringing it up was. Because if I was winking at him,
right?
Whatever.
Right. Maybe don't acknowledge something like that. It seems inappropriate. If you were winking, I would just ignore it. Like, oh my God, this kid's winking at me. I'm going to act like it didn't happen.
Yeah, or
then,
he could
then to ask it.
Yeah, to bring it up, I think was weird because he could have even just said like, "Joe, everything okay?" And then I would have been like, "Oh shoot, he saw me winking at him.
Right,
I'll stop winking at him." But yeah, he said, and maybe it was just something that caught him off guard, and he was confused.
Yeah,
and
like maybe he thought you were having some sort of a seizure. Yeah, but then maybe the question would be, "Joe, are you having a seizure?"
Well, that's why I think Joe, are you okay is maybe a better thing. But I think so I mean, and I didn't plan on talking about Mr. Schwartz today, but this is good to get off my chest.
It makes perfect sense too.
It makes perfect sense.
In terms of the question and everything. I see exactly where you're going with
this.
This.
So, well, let me just quickly, before I get back to the question, let me tell you about Mr. Schwartz. Maybe this will inform why he would do this sort of thing. So Mr. Schwartz was, he was a small man and, he was probably youngish, although it was hard to tell, but he, I don't know if this was before or after this, but he directed a couple plays at our school.
Okay.
And I tread the old boards.
Yeah.
And, I was in stuff, but I was usually in the comedic plays. So I didn't, necessarily want to audition when the Diary of Anne Frank was being put on.
Yeah.
But Mr. Schwartz was directing it. And Mr. Schwartz asked me, "Joe, are you going to audition for the Diary of Anne Frank?" And I said, I wasn't planning on it. That's not really my kind of show. Okay. I don't think I would be good in this show. And so he said, sincerely, like, you really should audition. This would be, great. And I was like, okay, I read you loud and clear. You need someone in, maybe you have me in mind for a particular role. You need me audition, and then you're going to give me the part. Right. Because he had directed me in a different show that was a comedy. So I was like, I'm a shoo-in. Great. Now I'll go happily audition. So I auditioned and then I didn't get any part in the show. Okay. So, you know what? So this whole Mr. Schwartz thing, tell me what it means, Laura.
Well, I think he was fucking with you. And I think he had it out for you, man. And I think when he said, at first when you said, Joe, are you winking at me? I thought he had some kind of sexual connotation there. Mm-hmm. But you know what I was thinking? I think he was doing are you talking to me type of thing at you. Are you winking at me? Are you winking at me? I think that's what he was doing. Now that you told that story, I think he really had it out for you, Joe.
I think he did. And I would be so curious where the winking came in terms of all of this. Was it after the first show I had done with him? Was it, it's hard to tell, because I do think that might matter to the context, because perhaps I wink at him and then he's like, what the hell? He's winking at me. And then he's like, oh yeah, audition for the show. I'll show you. And then, he's like, I gotcha. You don't wink at me.
Or it may have gone, you auditioned for the show, you winked, and then you didn't get the part. Maybe he went, wait a second, I can't have this kid winking at me all the fucking time.
That's true. He would be like, oh, he thinks, if he winks and flirts with the director, he's going to get the part.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there's a lot of ways it could have gone if we could only, get in touch with him. And,
I would love to get in touch with him, because I'd be very curious. He's a strange guy, though. I will say he was a weird guy.
Wouldn't it be funny to ask him, hey, you do you remember how you made me try out for the thing? You kind of guilted me into it, and then you didn't give me a part. Can you explain that to me and just hear what his explanation? Because it is pretty fucked up. You didn't want to do it. He kind of guilted you into doing it. And then he's like, nah.
It was weird. And I feel like that happens a lot. Like, I got called recently out of the blue, or on LinkedIn. They're like, oh, we love your resume. We'd love to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then so I did a call, and then I did another, I had 2 calls, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're not interested. And I'm like, I didn't want to be a part of your process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People, and we'll go back to this guy, the smile, the frown, it could have been a power play. People are power playing you all day long, people. You need to know that. The most innocent of interactions, power play. True. All the time.
Exactly. But
it's a mind fuck.
I was going to say that maybe she was practicing smiling and frowning.
Right.
So,
and that could have been it. It could have been as innocent as that. But it also could have been a power play. You guys can't let your guard down. Every time you get a text, a DM, just know somebody's fucking with you. Okay? It's never innocent. It's never innocuous. Really read in between the lines.
Yes. Never take things at face value.
No, never. It never leads anywhere good when we're just normal and nice to each other.
True.
It never pans out. Cool. So I feel like we answered that question amazingly as well. One type of thing that I know people are going to call in about when they do start calling in, is love. Matters of the heart. It's something we all question, and we all need, we all go to our friends for advice when it comes to love. So this is a great question here from someone who is in a relationship and is having some issues. Mm-hmm. If you're not in love with the person anymore, how do you tell them that you don't want to be in a relationship with them and that you're pregnant by the person you've been seeing?
Whoa.
So
that pregnant part was the hard part, I think.
Well, what I like about this question is, again, it's not a why. The first two, why did she do this? The first one, why do you have to use blood? This one is, how do I tell him?
That's
so
true.
I think there's a lot of creative ways you could do it. Okay. You could do, now right off the top of my head, I'm thinking gender reveal party, where you make the person you're with think they are the father.
Oh, no.
Then, in lieu of a gender reveal, when you pop the balloon or cut into the cake or open the envelope, maybe he opens the envelope and the message inside says, surprise, you are not the father. So it's more of like a paternity reveal. So that's one way.
Well, and the reason, just to piggyback, the reason people do gender reveal parties is so that if it turns out to be the specific gender that you don't want your child to be, the party atmosphere takes over and you have no choice but to smile. And so I think you're right, Laura. I think making this non-father learn he's not the father is very helpful, because he'll be sucked into the streamers and the music and then he'll have no choice but to smile, and then you'll never have to talk about it again.
Yeah, then you just, and what would be smart is maybe have his things packed, him or her have their things packed and, somewhere in the house where they don't know. And then when the party's over and everyone's, leaving, you can say, it's been nice and your things are, at the front door. And then they can leave with the rest of the party guests. And it's,
everyone
no
leaves
no
most parties with luggage. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you'll give out party favors. And so they'll have a little bag.
Luggage. Yeah.
And also would be very polite. And I would definitely advise that you do give a gift bag to that person who you are dating currently as well, because you don't want to leave them out. And if you don't give them a gift bag, that could, potentially cause, that could be where it tilts the opposite direction. It could go from a party and fun time where they found out that you've been having an affair with someone and is pregnant with someone else's child to, how could you not, give me the party favor bag? So
that's a great point.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to do it. There's a lot of ways. A fun way to me to do things sometimes is take a real steamy shower and write, in the steam. And then when the next person comes in, then it steams up and then they see the message, right? And you don't even have to say it out loud that way. And then it just kind of disappears when they get out of the shower. And I think that's a great way to do it too. And you probably want to do that when they're in the shower on their own. There's just a lot of ways. I say be creative and don't just do what everyone else does. Try to think of a different, unique way to go about that.
I have a quick way. I watched the movie, the classic movie Fiddler on the Roof recently. Yes. Have you seen that?
Yes. And you told me recently that you watched it. It must really be on your mind. Must have really stayed with you.
Well, that was a movie we watched growing up. That was speaking of my theater career, that was the first show I was in. And so I guess it really means a lot to me. But in that musical.
Was it with Mr. Schwartz?
No, this was pre-Schwartz.
Okay.
This was a high school production when I was like in, I don't know, middle school or elementary school or something. Okay. Because me and my brother were playing like the little kids in the movie.
Okay. Right.
So compared to the high schoolers, we were little kids. So anyway, and that really probably started my whole theater thing.
You got the bug.
I got the bug.
It happens to all of us. Oh, that old bug, and it's not coronavirus, guys. Okay.
It is not. It is not. But it is. It is as debilitating when you
deadly.
you feel the need to be up there and get the audience on your side.
Oh yes.
But in that show, as you'll recall, the lead Tevye, of course, he has a problem where his daughter Zeitel, of course, wants to, you know the story. She wants to marry the tailor, of course, model the tailor.
Of course.
Of course. And Tevye, of course, he gives the permission before talking to his wife. And so Tevye is in a little bit of a conundrum. How do I tell my wife that I've given my daughter Zeitel to permission to marry Motel, the tailor? Because, of course, she wanted her daughter Zeitel to marry the town butcher.
Yeah, of course.
Laser Wolf. That's the butcher. I was trying to think of so of course, Laser Wolf, the night before, and you know this. I'm just doing this in case people are listening who haven't seen it. But of course, Tevye and Laser Wolf, the night before, go out and drink, and Tevye says, "Yes, Laser Wolf, you can marry my daughter Zeitel." And everything seems fine and dandy until the next day. Model shows up and he's like, "Hey, I want to marry your daughter Zeitel." And Zeitel's like, "I actually like Model better than Laser Wolf. I don't like Laser Wolf at all. I don't want to marry him. He's much older than I am." And so Tevye, he's got this problem, but he comes up with a little scheme where he's in bed with his wife, and he wakes up. And he's panting like he's had some sort of nightmare. And he says, "Sweetie, my wife, I had this dream where Laser Wolf's, wife who had passed away, she came to me in the dream and said, 'Oh, I can't, you can't have Zeitel marry Laser Wolf, and she should marry, the tailor.'" But the point of that story is that just say a dream, you had a dream. Yeah. And the dream said that you need to break up. But you also have to say that you're pregnant. But he doesn't. So if he's out of the picture, you don't have to say, "I have a dream. I had a dream, and we need to break up." And and then I would let that sink in, and then I'd say, "By the way, I'm pregnant," and then I would let that sink in, and then I would say, "Oh, and also, by the way, it's not yours." And that's how I would do it, because I like to be honest. I like to do full transparency. Because you know what's going to happen if you don't do that? They're going to leave, and they're going to think you had this amicable breakup, and then you're going to fucking be really pregnant, and they're going to start putting two and two together, and they're going to start doing the math. And next thing, you went from a happy breakup to now you're enemies. And if you just say, "By the way, I'm pregnant. By the way, it's not yours," you can be friends. You can stay friends. So that is just, I think the way to do it. Maybe you watch the movie version of the stage show Fiddler on the Roof. That's the first step. And as you watch it, you'll realize that love, means so many different things when you look at the three daughters of Tevye. And, they each kind of fell for a different kind of man. And then maybe you can say, when we started dating, I was a Zeitel. And, you were a model, but then, eventually you're one of the other sisters whose names I forget. And, you want to marry one of the Russian, I think he's Russian, one of the Russian guys. So, lesson here is, you can just learn a lot from Fiddler on the Roof specifically, but also movies. Yes. You can get a lot of good life advice just from watching a film. There's a lot of them. And Fiddler on the Roof, I should say, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's 2 VHSs long. Guys, I can vouch. This guy's been talking about Fiddler on the Roof for a couple weeks now. So it's very good. Done a number on him. This is really, it's shaking him to his core. People talk about Hamilton. And I say, have you heard the story of Tevye? Right. And Laser Wolf. Of course, Laser Wolf, the butcher. Right. Zeitel. So guys, here's the deal.
you just heard us. Think about the attention to detail that we just put into every one of those questions. And think about, not only did we offer solutions, we offered explanations. We told personal anecdotes. We really got in there. So this is what we offer to you. This is how, this can help you in so many free, by the way. So, nowadays it's a fucking, it's a money game everywhere you look. You want this, you want that. It's always money. We're not about that here. Okay. No. Our currency is friendship. Okay. Our currency is interpersonal relationship, is growing a friendship, growing a relationship. That's how we make our money, our soul money. Okay. That's a currency we operate in.
Yes.
So it's not about, dollars and cents for us. You know what it's about? It's about love and common sense.
Thank you.
So
thank you for saying that. And also take note, guys, when you're thinking about your call that you're going to do probably at the end of this episode, these questions aren't entirely friendship based,
Right.
What makes it a friendship related question is that us, Joe and Laura, your friends, are going to answer it. We're going to give you advice like friends. So, it could literally be, hey, my car's making like a strange sound.
Yes.
What do you advise I do? And Laura and I will give you great advice on what to do with that.
We definitely will. And also it doesn't have to be a question. It could be a story. It could be, hey, guys, you brighten my fucking day.
Yes.
You're the reason I get out of bed in the morning. We'll love that too. So really, it's just anything. You can get on here and just curse. You can get on here and sometimes you got to scream and you can just go, as loud as you can. And we will play that. We will play that at full volume on this podcast. So, keep that in mind. We're here for you. We're always here for you. And this is why we do what we do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you all so much for listening to Heavy Friending this week. It's been a pleasure.
We always love doing this show, and we're gonna answer a couple more questions on our bonus Patreon. So guys, you got to hop over and please leave us some message of some kind.
Yeah, let us know that someone's listening.
Also, that the phone numbers works because it's hard to tell.
Yeah, the phone number. Call us again. The number is
213-394-9214. It's just that easy to remember.
And to listen to the bonus episode, you go to patreon.com/heavyfriending, pledge any amount of money, and you will get access to all these extra special bonus episodes. Who knows what the questions we'll be answering in the bonus. So thank you guys so much for listening to Heavy Friending. Joe and Laura signing off.
Bye.
I don't know. We should have a tagline that we say.
Maybe someone could leave that as a message.
That's true. If you guys think of a tagline, we'd love actually your advice on that.
Yeah,
the
help
tables
us.
have turned.
Why do we got to do all the work?
Why don't we got to do all the work, mister? Okay. We did it. Boom. Hit and stop.